And welcome to the Weekly Dartscast. Alex Moss here, joined by good friend of the show, regular contributor of the Weekly Dartscast, and more recently the voiceover for our Manscaped ad read. It is, of course, Matthew Kiernan, the darting nerd. How you doing?
Yeah, it's really good. Thanks, Alex. Video. Who'd have thought it? 2020 continues to fill up full of surprises, doesn't it? So here we are in crystal split screen vision.
Yeah, fans, let us know if you like it or you just want us to go back to the audio. Don't want to look at me. We'll let you guys decide. But we've got a lot to discuss, haven't we? I know there wasn't much PDC darts going at the weekend. We're all getting ready for the World Championship next week, but we do have this new organisation, MAD, Modern Amateur Darts. We're going to go through some of the bits that came out yesterday with their launch, The Dawn, and we should really start with yourself because you were kind enough to give up some of your Saturday afternoon to be part of the media afternoon before the launch took place. Just talk us through a little bit how that all went.
Gosh, goodness me. Well, how great it is to be talking about amateur darts in 2020. It's been so tough for so long, especially in relation to, what happened with the BDO, but some real good news on the horizon in relation to UKDA and what they're going to be doing with the county scene. And now MAD, hopefully, with amateur darts and opens and leagues. A massive thank you to Darren from JDC for helping to sort us out a place at that virtual press conference, and we still haven't had the video for that, but hopefully we will have the video very, very shortly. And it was great to be a part of. I think it's important that we say from the outset, Alex, that we are an independent darts media outlet, and I know that's something we feel very strongly about. There are lots of media partners with MAD, but we are independent, so it was great to be there. We don't have an agenda. We don't have, we're not out to get anyone. I think it's just important that we are here to give an objective opinion on a whole host of information that we were given, loads of information. It was great. And some of it is great and really, really exciting. And some of it, probably can be finessed and worked on. And certainly during the launch last night, social media was absolutely ablaze with comments, because everyone's got an opinion, haven't they? And they're not necessarily going to admit or acknowledge the incredible amount of work that Steve Brown and his team had clearly put into yesterday, to be able to get an event of any kind going in these COVID times is really, really hard, and they deserve so much credit for that, regardless of what we think. Now, despite all that, of course, we do also have to comment on what it was like as an end product as well, and hopefully we can do that constructively in this quick 5-minute podcast. But it was great to be there. So we spoke to 8 players at the virtual conference, and it was great to see Paul Hogan, Richie Burnett, Scott Mitchell was there, and Wayne Warren, of course, and John O'Shea, Darryl Fitton. And these are the ones that just come to me at the top of my head. Absolute highlight was Dylan from PDC Cymru, and people should give PDC Cymru a follow. Great little outlet there for Welsh darts, explaining to Richie Burnett how Q School worked, and the fact that he was in stage 2. He didn't know. He didn't have a clue. Didn't know what stage 2 was. We all read it up on it, of course, and we did ask that question to Wayne Warren and John O'Shea, and it was quite interesting to get their opinions on that, and we'll bring that to you. But yeah, Richie Burnett, of course, because he's in the top 16, he gets into stage 2, which is the final stage of Q School, but he didn't have a clue. Bless him. Well done, Dylan, from PDC Cymru. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, a good afternoon, a different one.
Yeah, and got to say thank you for taking out your afternoon to help us out with that. And we're looking forward to hearing what the players said. We haven't got that video audio yet, but when we do get it, of course, we will get it out to you guys so you can see what the players were saying about the day. And I guess really it was a very interesting day, because we obviously had that media afternoon that we were part of. 3 o'clock, it was supposed to be the big kickoff. Of course, we know 3 o'clock more with the football 3 o'clocks, but unfortunately the launch didn't go ahead at 3 o'clock. It was more towards getting on 5 o'clock nearly when we had the launch put out. Of course, we had John Rawling presenting with Steve Brown, Paul Nicholson, talking us through all these bits and slides that we're going to come on to talk about in a moment. And then it was from that straight into the games, and should give you a rundown, shouldn't we, of the games that we saw. All right. And yeah, we'll get into the games that we did see after that launch. Right about 5:45, 6 o'clock, we got underway with these games. These are for the MAD titles. We had first up John O'Shea against James Richardson, and a new champion. John was given the title, the honorary champion, for being the World Master last year, not going to be able to defend that title. So MAD saying you'll be the first European champion, and James Richardson coming through that one 9-5 to get through. Other games we saw, of course, underneath that, you've got Jim Williams, Richie Bennett. Jim was given the title for that one based on his WDF ranking as the WDF #1, and came through that one 8-2. So the youth beating the more experienced, if you like. Richie probably still getting his head around Q School, as you mentioned there. Third game, this is a title that didn't have a champion. It was going to be Ross Montgomery, but he was unable to attend in the end. So it was between Ryan Hogarth and Gary Stone. And out of all the games, out of all the players that we saw last night, this was probably the best performance of the lot. Gary Stone, just under 97 average, winning 8-1. So he is the first MAD Scottish champion. Fourth game up, Paul Hogan was given the English title as the #1 ranked on the WDF list in terms of English players. And we saw a new champion, Daryl Fitton. This was originally going to be Ted Hankey going up against him, but health reasons, he had to pull out of the event. Daryl Fitton coming in, I think he had 2 days' notice, they were saying on the commentary. Survives 2 match starts to lose 8-6, comes through 8-7. So a new English champion there with the Dazzler. And then the final game, Wayne Warren, the BDO World Champion again. He was given the title as the honorary champion to begin things off, and not Mark Webster in the end. He had to pull out for, I think, was in contact with someone who had COVID or something like that. He was isolating. And up stepped Scott Mitchell, and a great game to finish off. 11-9 win for Wayne Warren, so he keeps hold of the title as well. I don't know if you saw much of the games last night. You've been able to watch them back today, but what did you make of the first night of MAD darts?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I've spoken to a few people about this, and clearly it's designed to get interest. And these are the best players around that don't have tour cards. I think that's largely accepted. And again, it's fantastic that we were able to see some darts on a Saturday night in a high res stream for the most part when it started working. Just a quick note on streams, by the way, I've had streams fail for me in the past. It is soul destroying, let me tell you. So I did feel for them really, and it's very easy for us to say, oh, stream's not working, but oh my goodness, it is tough. And we've even had a power cut before this has started, haven't we? So we can certainly relate to that. I think that, yeah, I mean, it's designed to generate interest. I thought it was pretty good standard actually throughout the night. I think we have to mention that the commentary, I mean the great commentators, they sounded like they were commentating out of a tin can, I have to say. I mean it was really off-putting. I did feel for them because they've got great commentators. I like all three of them, Rawling, Mason and Nicholson, but yeah, just couldn't hear anything they were saying really. So there's that aspect. There was this odd moment when, because of course we will be talking about belts in a minute, where we Alex, because that's the big thing that everyone's talking about. But there was this horrendous moment after each game where people were, well, there was a kiss of the belt, wasn't there? That was Jim Williams, and then there were these bizarre interviews where clearly they're absolutely loving it, saying, come and win this belt off me if you think you're hard enough, and you think, oh my goodness, what is going on? It's as if this year could get any weirder. It's just so cringe, isn't it? But it's different. It's different. We have to give it a chance, and it's probably a good time then, Alex, to get your opinion on the talk of social media, the belts.
Yes, I think this has been the thing that has caught a lot of people's attention. And okay, we've got to be a little bit fair, haven't we? Because if they'd have been able to get the launch up and running at 3 o'clock, I think it was around a 25-30 minute chat that they put together, which was pre-recorded in the end. But due to the timings, due to the overrun, of course, we went straight from the chat into this darts. And I suppose if people were just tuning in, didn't get to watch the chat because obviously it ran into each other, they went straight into the games afterwards, they probably didn't really know what was going on. So I kind of feel for the guys a little bit there, where they would have had that sort of 2 hours, 1.5 hour window where people could have been maybe just got in from somewhere, been out for the afternoon, seen the things that were coming up and said, oh, let's have a quick read of that, see what's going on. But we were straight into it. And it's very interesting. It's something that we've never seen in darts. Obviously, this has been taken from the boxing school of thought here, which is very popular, of course, but we've never seen anything like this in darts before. Usually we get the tournaments, straight knockout or a league phase. This is something where it's one-off games. And as I say, we'll come on to go through the slides that we've got talking about how the whole belt system is going to work. But I kind of get the feeling this is something that's if it's going to take off, it's going to take off second half of next year when we're hopefully getting back to normal, because it's something that could work with regards to putting on exhibition nights. Of course, I think how it's going to work is people are going to have to put some money forward to challenge for these belts, and the challengers get to pick the venue. So they could put them up in their local pub, local club, or local venue, whatever, tickets, put other games on that night, kind of make it a big spectacle. And there'll be a lot of darts fans out there that will be wanting to go and watch live darts after the year that we've had. We've not had a lot of it because of the virus. We've all been stuck at home. So there is going to be a big appetite next year for people to go out, enjoy themselves, let their hair down, of course, have a few beers or other refreshments and just enjoy themselves, have a night at the darts. And there'll be a lot of players that will want to get involved in this as well, I think. So I think it is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on next year and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's very true, isn't it? Context is key. And I think at Sporting Goose, which is Tom Rouse, who's a listener of the show, tweeted very astutely, I thought, before this had started, if these were trophies, would we be having this discussion? Would it have got that sort of wrestling type, all the memes that we saw on social media? Would we actually be having this conversation? No, of course not, because it is different and it has attracted attention. Maybe not the attention that they wanted in the first instance, but attention nonetheless, and good publicity, and any publicity is good publicity. I think I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. I think that I can see championship matches being put on, for example, at a modus night out. I think that it's a perfect sort of not fodder, but a perfect addition to that kind of night out, as you say. I think that there will be a great deal of interest in it. I think that people can create a buzz, and there'll be no end of people queuing up to back at this level, at the championship level, to back themselves to give it a go. And I think that what we missed or out on, and again, context is key. I didn't know this until today. All those players there, they put money in to play these matches. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
No, didn't know that.
And this is the thing, what were we watching? So that would have been much better to learn it as we were going along. And so you could basically put in money now to challenge for these championships, and then it's vetted by a committee. So, for example, if I had loads of money and I wanted to challenge, Dal Fitton, it would be rejected, quite rightly, because there's obviously no chance in hell of me actually winning that particular match, and it's not going to be a competitive spectacle for them. So that's encouraging. I think this will work better at a regional level, because there are going to be regional champions as well. And that we don't know how that's going to be determined, because we do know how that's going to be determined, because Steve Brown said that today, and again, we didn't know this yesterday. It's going to be done on Challenge Tour rankings from each region, so with a few exceptions. So that's going to be interesting. So we await that particular announcements. Presumably that will follow this week. At a regional level, this could be the shot in the arm that darts at a sort of the local venues in particular need, because you could just imagine the interest in which that would generate locally. So, for example, if it was your top county players wanting to go and challenge for that particular belt. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm going to get used to it. We all have to get used to it now. So yeah, it's going to be really good, and I can't wait to go along and watch one of those. I think it'll be an amazing atmosphere, and I really hope I get asked the chance to go and film these. I've put in a request to Laura Turner, who's the Titans super director. Go Titans. I think you're the Eagles, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah, up the Eagles.
Have we got used to that yet? Again, you know, all these regions have sort of been completely lost in amongst this stuff. That's, you know, really, we'll come to that in a minute in the slideshow. And I think that in terms of generating interest, it definitely does that. But it depends on what your goals are, because my thoughts in relation to modern amateur darts was that it was designed to get more people, and this is something I'm very passionate about in life, is getting more people involved in the sport. So, you know, if someone was sitting there watching this and were not a darts fan and was thinking about taking it up, would they be inspired to take it up based on the information that they were given last night? Not sure. We don't really know. Would those on a Tuesday night in the Thornton Heath District League, you know, that play one leg of singles and a leg of triples and a leg of quadruples or whatever, and it finishes at 11:30 at night, would they have even been watching? Would they be interested? I don't know. I'm not convinced at this point, based on, you know, if they saw that launch, that they would be enticed in. But that's going to be the work of the regional directors in the future. I would have liked to have seen, you know, in addition to this, I would have liked to have seen just a bit more information about the MAD Open structure, which I think is really exciting, because local opens are the bedrock of this sport. And you know, to go to a local open and then work your way up the system and get points that way, that's really exciting. I would love to have seen more of that. I would also love to have seen more of ladies darts. There was very little mention of ladies darts at all throughout the evening, and there was a bit of a mention of it in the slide deck. If I was a you know, ladies dart player watching that last night, you'd think, well, what's there for me here? I don't think there is a lot, and I would have thought, you know, and they've done very well to get those 8 players there. Don't get me wrong, absolutely brilliant, or more players actually. Sorry, to get them there, fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I would have thought a few women would have been involved as well. But you know, that's just my opinion. We can all pick holes, can't we, if we want to?
Yeah, I believe there are going to be these championship belts for the ladies players, but we await to get confirmation on that. But should we talk about these championship title system in a little bit more depth? This is, of course, the slideshow that we were given as part of the media, looking at the launch yesterday, and this is the outline for the title systems. Do you want to run us through it?
Yeah, so I'll read this out, because obviously there will be people listening to this and not necessarily watching. So the title system is another branch of MAD, and it's the championship title system. It's inspired by the systems used in combat sports such as boxing and MMA. Champions will be recognised with title belts, don't we know it? There'll be 4 divisions. They'll work on a pyramid system, starting at super regional level, so that's like the Eagles or the Titans, and then national level and continental level, and then peaking at world level. And the system will operate separate men's and ladies championships. So again, you see, that's key information there. We didn't know that last night, or at least I don't think that came across. Any existing champion going on to claim a championship higher in the pyramid automatically vacates their title. Yes, I think that makes sense. Yep. Super regional titles will be defended on a 4-weekly cycle, so that's really quick, with all other titles being defended on a 5-weekly cycle. And any player can bid for a title shot, so that could be you or me, Alex. Champions have the potential to earn good money with each defense, which is a good point. And just before I get your opinion on that, just that last point there is really crucial, because challenge matches are not new in darts. This happened on many occasions in the 90s and in the noughties, when you know, players would put down X amount and the other player would match that, and they would play this in front of sort of a baying crowd or a neutral venue. And you know, they're very popular. If you ask anyone of a certain age, these are not new. This is a jazzed up version of what has been present in, I think they're called money racers, basically. So this isn't new, but it's a jazzed up, posher version of that. And you know, that's a good thing, potentially.
Yeah, I think this is quite a lot of information here that we've got about the belts, and the good thing is with the title defences, as you've pointed out, the main titles, if you like. So we're talking like the world title, the European title that we saw played for last night, being defended on a 5-weekly cycle. So you think of other events like the WDF when they get their World Championship, World Masters, that's, you've got one shot of that a year. With this one, you're going to see it potentially defended 10, if it works out on the calendar, maybe even 11 times a year. So you've got that interest throughout the whole of the calendar year. So if you've got a player that's maybe getting into the form at some time, maybe during the summer, and thinking, yeah, I fancy a go at that, then you put your bid in at that point after the title's been defended. I think you get up to 7 days after that title's been defended to put your bid in, and then once all the bids are in, the champion will then decide if they want to, who they want to go with, basically, because so you've got whoever they want to go with, they'll decide. Also, some of these bids as well, I know there's been a bit of talk on social media about, well, what's stopping a player who maybe averages 30 or 40 but's got a lot of money, cash to burn, chucking in 2, 3, 4, 5 grand and going, yeah, I want to play you for this title, just to say, oh, I've played such and such over a long game. Well, all these bids are going to be vetted by MAD as well, so there will be that part of the process as well. So hopefully we will still see competitive games throughout all these belts when they are defended.
So you're gonna have to keep that 2 grand in your pocket there, Alex.
Yeah,
it's burning a hole.
I'd love to.
All right, so let's just scroll down. Okay, so inaugural champions. Each of the 16 super regions across England and Wales will crown an inaugural champion. The super regional director, so in the Titans case, that's Laura Turner, can facilitate this however they wish, perhaps either via a super region-wide event. Well, unfortunately, it was COVID, so that's not possible at the moment, or via a local regional qualification and a finals playoff system. Again, this is written before COVID, isn't it? Every participant must be a MAD member. MAD membership only just opened, and any event must meet the MAD event criteria, and the super regional director has the power to decide the format for the event. Fair enough. England, Scotland and Wales will each crown an inaugural national champion. MAD will determine these champions using the WDF rankings. Yep, well, we've seen that, so that's fine. MAD will crown the inaugural champions, yep, and champions to be awarded championship title belts to represent, here's belts again, can't get away from them, to represent their status and achievement. Champions will be required to defend their titles regularly and financial incentives. And that's a good point, isn't it? It is potentially very big money for these guys, and that's really good to see. But again, what I'm more interested in at this point, this is just one small aspect of it. I'm more interested in, how do we get more people playing darts, and how do we get a bit more prestige to those local events like the Basingstoke Open and like the Riley's Victoria Open that I adore so much. How do we get more prestige to them?
Yeah, that's a great point. And there's been a chat that's gone out on the MAD YouTube channel today with Steve Brown, where he's spoken a little bit more about things, and he's looked back on last night, the launch, and how he felt it went. And you got to say, like, last night was looking at the top level of MAD. There is that, they talk about this tagline from pub to pro. Well, unfortunately at the moment, all the restrictions that we've got, you can't go into a pub and play darts. You certainly can't go into a pub and have a beer and play darts without getting your substantial meal at the moment. We've all got these tiers and everything, so it is hard to launch this MAD system, MAD system, when we've got all that going on. So he wanted to get something out there before the end of 2020, and I had a chat with him. It was around this time last month. I was doing a bit on the website about the Grand Slam, if we might see MAD or JDC players involved in it next year, with there being no BDO, and he just dropped it in there. We will crown our first MAD world champion before the end of this year, and we will have some games played. And I was taken aback by it quite a bit, because I thought, how are they going to do that? Well, there was a lot of work that's gone in to get that event on last night, get all the players into that venue. I'm assuming they've all had the tests and everything, and they've made sure that everyone there is okay to play. And last night we saw the top level. There will be other levels underneath this, and it's just a case of waiting until we are a bit like the WDF. We can't get these big opens on where you get hundreds, thousands of players in a venue until it's safe to do so. So with MAD underneath this top level, it's hard to get things going without being safe to do it. So that's I think that's maybe something that's been lost on people, is they're all focusing on the top players, maybe some that even are professional but playing under this system. Well, it's not all about them. It is going to be about everyone else as well. We've just got to give it a little bit of time.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as I say, we will never ever criticize the efforts that people go to get events on. You know, he's made a statement there. He's followed through with it. You know, it wasn't so long ago you were talking to Des Jacklin, making all sorts of ludicrous claims. You know, just pie in the sky, unicorn flying past the window stuff, and you know, never going to be following through. It didn't follow through on a lot of it, didn't he? So you know, Steve made a statement and he followed through with it. So yeah, absolutely agree with that. You know, at the same time, it is, you know, a bit different, and we do need to scrutinise, don't we? So this is the pyramid, so I think we're all fairly familiar with this now. So not too much to cover there, I would say. So basically, for those listening, the world is at the top and Europe below it. I mean, yeah, in terms of the belts, not in terms of life. World's at the top, Europe, then England, Scotland and Wales champions, and then the regions below that. And yeah, so it's basically what we were discussing before. So I will now seamlessly scroll down. Oh. Title defences. And I really hope we're not going to see those really cringe promos that you get in wrestling. Are you a wrestling fan, by the way, Alex?
Not for a while, no.
Not for a while, no. We all go through that phase. Yeah, I mean, when these people when they were saying, "Come on, get this title off me," oh my god. So anyway, once a player becomes a champion, they will be required to defend it regularly. And then there's the 4-week cycle there for the super regional champion, and then a 5-week cycle for the world. They will take place at a venue of the challenger's choice. So that's interesting, isn't it? So the challenger can name where that is. And the challenger or sponsor will submit a bid to MAD by no later than 7 days after the last defence. And then the champion has 24 hours to decide which one to accept. Gosh, that's quick. And then the title, the defence till take place. Okay, there's a typo there. The defence will take place no later than 21 days after the acceptance for the super regional titles, 28 days for senior titles. So it's quite lengthy. It's great to have all this information, of course. These slides are really well designed. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, not really. I think that just kind of covers it, doesn't it? The 5-week break between each title defence for the big titles, the senior titles. So you've got the 7 days after the defence for people to put their bid in. Then they get a short time, 24 hours to decide which one they want to go with. And then it's just a case of getting everything ready for that title bid. So getting the venue ready, getting the tickets on sale if they're doing it as an event, and just building up towards that. And yeah, I think that's basically all covered on that slide.
So then we come on. Yes, now we come on to money. Of course, in a darts, money is so integral to darts, and you know, everyone wants to know what sort of what the prize fund is. It's the first question anyone asks in relation to you know, going to a local open, for example. So champions can earn guaranteed prize money by staying champion through successful defences. Okay, so if a player or player's sponsor wishes to challenge for a title, a financial bid must be submitted to MAD to enable the title defence to be undertaken. The bid will include the champion's purse. Oh, it is boxing, isn't it? As the champion will need to travel for the defence as well as having the right to be paid as current champion. MAD fees, media promotion fees. Not quite sure what MAD and media promotion fees are. That would be interesting to get a breakdown on that. The value of the minimum bid increases the more prestigious the title. Now, I've heard a rumour that it's for super regional. I believe it's about £600, £600 to £700. So that's interesting. So that's a pretty good night. That's a pretty good, you know, that's a pretty hefty amount of money on one match, is it not? And I guess the biggest question here is, you know, players are going to need management companies and sponsors to back them, because not many, how many people you know in any walk of life that have that amount of money just to back themselves, let alone those that play darts where margins are just so tight. Yes,
it's going to be careful how they get all this together, isn't it? Because as you say, it's a difficult time at the moment. We are in this COVID pandemic, and money is tight for a lot of people. So I guess again, this is something that we're looking at towards the second half of next year, when things are hopefully getting back to normal and we are able to do more things. I think on one of the slides further down, as you scroll on
right,
now,
sorry.
this is the minimum bid. So we've got 500 for the super regional title, if I want to have a go at that. £1,000 for the national title, £1,500 for the continental, so that was the European that we saw last night, and then £2,000 for the world title. So yeah, it is a bit of money, and I think you're probably going to see some people, especially with that world title, you'll probably see the sponsor put that money towards it. And for people that are going to be earning money through these belts, you have to be the champion, basically. So you have to win that belt, and then you'll start getting your money when you're defending these titles, because you see there 70% of that money. So say you're a world champion and you get 70% just off the top of my head, I think that's £1,400 just for turning up to play. And if you win again, then you get that money again, don't you? And maybe the bid ends up being higher. So it's a case of, for these people, you've got to get that belt, and then that's when you are going to reap the rewards, hopefully. And if you keep defending the title, you keep picking up the big money.
Yeah, interesting. Now, there is a line at the bottom of this slide. I really should have read the slide before we came there. It's a bit remaining funds within a bid going to MAD and media partners. So I wonder if that's the people that are going to be filming it. But yeah, I mean, I would love, just if anyone from MAD is watching, I would love to go along and film one of these, really. But that suggests that might be a bit tricky. And I've got a pie chart, Alex. Now we're talking. So this is, so that's basically what you were saying before. So I'll just describe it. So we've got the 70% for whoever wins, and then there's 20% to MAD, and then there's 10% to media and promotion. There is no limit to the amount of bids that can be received. However, they reserve the right to screen the bids before submitting them to the champion. Yeah, so that's fine. Champion has the right to choose which bid to accept without prejudice, because in theory, I guess they might weigh up and saying, "Oh, I can beat that person very easily,"
Yeah.
or that person's quite a difficult player, but it's down the road. So I won't have to do an overnighter. So I think they're going to be having interesting challenges like that. And then the sponsor has the opportunity to recoup or even profit from the initial bid expense by using the title defense as a draw for a local event. So that's good. That's a good idea. So local event could be a exhibition night, for example, or bunged on the end at a local open. Now, when you go to a local open, barely anyone stays for the final. They're all too sloshed and over-refreshed and have gone home sulking as they've lost. So now they can stick around and watch something perhaps at the end, or it could be the start, couldn't it? Which could also be exciting. Right, nearly there. This is the first slide deck. Great to have so much information, isn't it? Title defense flow. MAD will crown the initial super region national. Yeah, we've seen all that, so that's fine. So MAD will crown the champions. If a champion is ever unsuccessful in a defense, they cannot submit a bid for a rematch until after the following defense. Okay. However, they can submit a bid for a junior title immediately, providing they fit the criteria. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, so that's underneath whatever they were playing at, fine. If a challenger is unsuccessful in a title match, they too cannot bid for the same title until after the next defense. However, they too can immediately bid for a junior title, fine. If an existing champion loses to a junior champion, this is getting very complicated now, but I think it does make sense. The junior champion vacates their title. The former champion automatically becomes #1 contender for the junior title, providing they fit the residential criteria to be that champion. And they will have the right to choose a bid. If they don't fit the residential criteria, they must wait until after the following defense of the title that they have just lost to be able to bid for it again. I don't think we need to spend too much time on that, Alex, but I think you get the gist. And I think this is the last slide. Yes, we are there. Oh. Okay, this is mandatory defences, again, very boxing related. If a champion does not accept any bids during a defence title, they vacate it. If no bids are received, they retain it until the next defence. Every fourth defence, the #1 contender will get first refusal to submit a bid. Okay. The number one contenders for each title are as follows. It's quite heavy going, this. But again, none of this came up last night, did it? This is a lot of thoughts gone into this, and it sort of got lost in amongst the chat. World title. If any current continental champions have had 3 successful defenses, those continental champions are the number one contenders. So continents meaning European champion, which is James Richardson, and then the home nations. If there are none, the bidding is then open. And then it carries on so forth for the continental, national, and then super regional. Anything you want to add to that? I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I think we should move on to the second slide deck.
Thank you for sticking with us, everyone. Right, okay. So, Showpiece. Now, this is what they should have spent time talking about, Alex, shouldn't they? I think. As I seamlessly move on to slide 2, which are these are the Showpiece events, and this is in addition to the Mad League system and Mad Invitational events. They'll also run 4 Showpiece events. There's so much happening, isn't there? So this is the National League Championships, the British Open Amateur Championships, the Golden Gauntlet, and we're going to have great fun talking about the Golden Gauntlet because that's the other thing which people really sort of caught up on, and then the Champion of Champions, which is basically like the old school News of the World and what Red Dragon does at the moment. Which of those stands out to you?
Well, I think the one that stands out has got to be that Golden Gauntlet, hasn't it? Because that is something that we've never seen the like of in darts. I know we've seen a few people mentioning it on social media in the past. Paul Nicholson's been one, Matthew Edgar as well. They've come up with these ideas before, but we've never actually seen it done. So that'll be interesting. I think these first 2 are more traditional kind of things that we're going to see, but the last one, I've got to give a mention as well, the Champion of Champions. That is, because I know there's a few people that thought, oh, is this going to be a different one to the one that Red Dragon hold? But it is basically in conjunction with them. Their MAD are taking over the running of that and all the qualifiers where they're going to be. So there'll be one qualifier in each of the 256 regions that there are. So you're still going to get the 256 players. There's still going to be best of 3. So that event is basically the same as before. It's just the qualifying structure where the events are held to qualify for it. That's just going to be a little bit different, I think.
God, that's really interesting. I didn't know that. And again, why wasn't this information? I mean, it just didn't come out during the slide. There's so much good stuff here, but just didn't come out during that night. Right, so this is the first one. So Mad National League Championships. So this is aimed at any league, and it's the culmination of the year's league play that were affiliated to MAD. The finals consist of 16 super regional teams. So each region will pick their team, playing in a seeded 4-group round robin, followed by knockouts. This is similar to the Gold Cup for Super League, isn't it? Each super regional team is made up of the 24 best performers from the 3 previous quarterly super regional championships. Again, we haven't had any of those yet, of course. Any MAD member is eligible to take part, and the event will carry £10,000 prize fund. So it's a bold claim, isn't it? Such a bold claim. So, but no reason to doubt why they wouldn't follow through on that. So is that exciting? Is the Stowmarket League? I don't know what league you play in now, Alex, but is it going to be MAD affiliated?
Well, who knows? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing we've got to point out as well. Is a lot of the talk last night was about the top level, all the belts and stuff, but this is where MAD is going to put its fingerprints on all the leagues, all the opens. If you want your league to be affiliated with MAD, get the ranking points from it, then you can do that, and you'll have the opportunity, if you play well in those leagues, to be noticed, to be recognised. Of course, as you mentioned, the super regional directors, the teams that are going to be running each region, they'll be looking at all the data, looking at who's performing well, and they'll get to pick these guys, these ladies to play in these events. So it's a new event for MAD that they're putting on, and this is catering towards the pub player, the players like ourselves that aren't going to be playing at that top level, or the amateur semi-pro level at that kind of top level. So this is a new event, and this is kind of catering towards a lot of the other players that maybe thought MAD's not for us. Well, this is an event that is going to be for them.
Right, now this is the crucial question. Now we didn't have a chance to speak to any representatives from MAD at the press conference yesterday, and the question that I would have liked to have put to them is in relation to league affiliation fees, because the big question here is, because I think Super Leagues will go for this. Absolutely, this is absolutely aimed at Super League players, and most people that play Super League are fairly ambitious, and they will want to get to the next level. They'll want to play for their county, for example, and they will also want to, potentially this gives them another thing to aim for in terms of the top 24 from each region. So that's absolutely no question about that. I'm sure they'll affiliate. It's £50 for a team, I believe, £50 for a team, and then every team within that has to affiliate, which is £25 a team. So it has to come from somewhere. So that would be my that would have been my question. Are we sure that leagues are actually going to go for this? So that's Super League. However, we don't know what happens with singles leagues, because there's a lot of those in the UK. So how does that work? Obviously, I do a lot of work for the individual darts league in London. So how does that work? And then the big question is, the Thornton Heath and District Darts League, or that play on a Tuesday night, are they really going to be interested in this? And we want, if it's going to work, you do want everyone to go in together. And I remain unconvinced that those that play social darts on a Tuesday are going to be interested in this. Whether that's an issue or not, I don't know. But that would be my only sort of reservation about that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the uptake's like, won't we? But it's we could see it go on for the first year. Maybe not as many people go into it as MAD are hoping for, but if people see this event, they hear about it from other leagues that they play in, they might think, oh, let's get our league involved in it next year. So I think it will be one of them where once we do get the leagues up and running again, we could see the uptake go up and up. It's a new event. It's not going to get everyone's attention. It's not going to be for everyone, but I reckon there will be a sizable amount of people that will be interested in it, and we'll see with how the first one goes, whenever that may be. We don't have a date for it either.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Leagues are a long way off from actually having started up again. And in relation to just one last point before we move on, that in relation to leagues, one of the big things I've said during this pandemic is there has been no guidance at all for darts organisers throughout this whole thing. I've been very passionate about this. In cricket, athletics, football, any sport, there is guidance, charts, you name it, from the governing body saying this is how you make it COVID secure, this is what you do. There's nothing like that for darts at all. Nothing at all. Guess, basically, and liaise with your local pub and hope for the best, really. So hopefully that's also another aspect that MAD can potentially get into and write some guidance and help us. But yeah,
I think it's hard for the leagues, isn't it? Because, well, especially in my league, you've got to have at least 6 players in the team. So you're looking at probably 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe players coming from all different households for one team, and then they're going up against another team. It's kind of like you're not going to get that going at the minute. But we'll see when we get going again. But hopefully we will one day.
Absolutely. So we move on here to the MAD British Amateur Open Finals, and again, this is one that I'm quite excited about. So it's the third stage of the event. I'm not sure what event they're talking about there. I think it might all be on one weekend. The 64 qualifiers will play off in a 16 group round robin, followed by knockouts. That's fairly standard. Finalists must qualify at regional level. Okay. Then again, as a typo. Then again at super regional level. Yeah. Okay. So that's similar to the Gold Cup, isn't it, within the BDO? Any MAD member can enter qualifying events. It's open to men and ladies. Good to mention ladies there. The event carries a £30,000 prize fund. Again, another bold claim. 10,000 go to the winner. All 64 players receiving money. I mean, that sounds brilliant, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think this is probably. I think the last one is more of a team event. This one's probably more of a straight singles event. So I don't know. Like you say, they might do it on the same weekend, get everyone there. If there'll probably be a lot of players that are playing in both of the events. But I'm assuming this is a singles one, and you'll have a qualifier that you've got to play in your region. If you get through that, then there'll be all the people that come through those regions will have to play in their super region qualifier, and then that'll get down to 64 players, and then you will go into this event. And good thing to see that all 64 players are going to get a bit of prize money. So that should go towards the cost of going to where this event might be.
And again, I keep saying this. Why wasn't that one of the top headlines? That is a fantastic idea. Yeah. Oh, here we go, Alex. Here we go. It's what we've been waiting for. It's the MAD Golden Gauntlet. Right, strap yourselves in, everyone. The MAD Golden Gauntlet will consist of 30 players. These are the 16 Super Regional champions, the 3 national champions, the European champion, the world champion, 5 MAD icons, God knows who they are, and 4 wild cards. Okay, the event is randomly drawn, quick format, winner stays on event, and if a player is thrown over the top rope, 2 feet must touch the floor, and then they are eliminated. Oh no, see, you're paying. The event starts with 2 players competing, with a new entrant joining. Once the match has been won, the winner will receive £10,000 and could be won by a player winning just 1 match. Where'd you start with that?
Wow, I mean, out of all the ideas that we've seen in darts, this has got to be the craziest one, and it's got everyone's attention. Let's be fair about it. There'll be a lot of people looking at it going, what on earth are you guys doing here? But there'll be some people that think whenever this first one's going to happen, I'm going to watch it, because it will be interesting to see how it plays out. And we've had a few details about it. Of course, it is going to be 1 leg, 701 for each game. So we will have the 2 people starting off on the oche. Whoever wins stays on, the loser goes home, and then the next person comes in until all 30 have played. So you could theoretically have someone start the event, win 28 games, and then the final person comes in, play 1 leg of 701, win it, and get £10,000. So there's a lot of different caveats on this, a lot of different angles that we can go down and go, wow, that is interesting. But I think there's talk about people being put in a secret room, them not knowing who they're going to play. Well, I think the players are going to know, because you can have a practice room, unless you have 30 different practice rooms at the venue. And you look at how the players have been picked there. You've got 16 Super Regional champions, the 3 national champions, European champion, world champion. Well, that's 21 of the 30 that you are going to know who. I think the interesting part is going to be who are going to be the mad icons, who are going to be the 4 wild cards, and of course the random draw. You're not quite sure who you're going to play next. That's going to be an interesting part of it. And I think this will be a good event. I think we just got to wait to see how it plays out. And when we do see it, how it gets the reception from the fans, because this is a kind of a spectacle that you want to watch. Maybe watch it on TV, watch it on a stream or whatever. But it's got a lot of people's attention, and you can't fault MAD for that, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It got the attention. I don't think it was the attention that they necessarily wanted, I have to say. And, this is an excellent exhibition idea, I think. Exhibitions, why hasn't anyone done this before? It doesn't have to be 30. You could just have if you're modus, you could just have your dozen players that you advertise and just do it that way. I think that it's a great idea for an exhibition. For a tournament, or something where you're trying to give I mean, it's a showpiece event. There's no rankings necessarily, so it's basically glorified exhibition in of itself. I don't know whether you can take it that seriously. I think as a charity event or as an exhibition, this is absolutely perfect. But yeah, how annoyed would you be if if the person coming in at number 30, well, they've got a 50-50 chance of winning 10 grand, and that is in there the last line as a sort of a triumphant call to action. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think
should also point out as well, they're not going. Whoever wins this, they are going to get 10k. They're not going to get a shot at WrestleMania, but they are going to get a world title shot for the MAD title as well. So there is that carrot of it as well. You will get that shot that maybe you'd have had to spend, what was it, the £2,000 minimum to get in. You're getting that for free, basically. So that's another different thing to add on at the end.
Yes, I mean, that is the WrestleMania type analogy. I can't stop laughing because I've watched wrestling for years, and I thought, oh my, as soon as they started bringing up with this, I mean, I'm going to be watching
Yeah.
Aren't you? I mean, I mean, you just want to see just what on earth it is really. Yeah, maybe we've missed the point. Maybe that is the whole point, isn't it? We are all talking about it, but yeah, I mean, we'll have to see, won't we? I mean, Stefan Everard, who's very heavily involved in MAD, works incredibly hard in the regional aspect. He's a huge wrestling fan, so I can, if he's behind this, he can probably make it work, if anyone. But yes, let's wait and see about that. And I seamlessly move on to the last slide, which you've spoken about already, which is the Champion of Champions, which you said, Alex, that it is actually going to be now part of the Red Dragon event, which is very popular. In Cardiff, very popular, and it features 256 players, as we know, one qualifier from each MAD region. And it's the best of 3 format, qualifiers, finals. I'm sure they'll do a plate as well, and all sorts, and probably streamed. And it's in a random draw, and it's open to all MAD members, and it's 30 grand. It's very impressive, isn't it? It's another bold claim. No reason to doubt them so far on that. What do you think?
No, I really like this one. Out of the 4 events, this is probably my favourite one, and I think it's great that MAD have got that link up with Red Dragon and the people that were organising this event before, because it has got that history behind it already. I mean, I was looking earlier, the previous champions we've had of this, there's a lot of quality on that list. You've got Going Price, Johnny Clayton, I think Jim Williams won it last year, Paul Hogan's won it before. So you do see top players go into this. Now, whether they're going to still be allowed to go into it now, or they've got to be a MAD member, or whether this can be streamed, because I know the PDC are pretty tight on players playing in events that aren't involved with the PDC. So I don't know whether that means that those players that have got the tour card will be able to play in this event anymore. I'm not quite sure. I need to look into that. But I really like this event. I've been following it for the last few years. One of the events that you probably put down on a list and think, it'd be a good event to maybe go and cover for the weekend. I know it's only a day event, but get down there and see what it's all about. And you get to see very different players, lots of players that have come through qualifiers by right, potentially go up against those top players, and best of 3 legs, like the old News of the World format. It's an exciting cutthroat format as well.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of talk. There's very good point there. A lot of tour card holders do play in this, so it'll be interesting. So that this will probably mean that they won't be able to, I would imagine. But yes, yeah. Again, another event that was barely mentioned last night, and what a shame that was the case. And just as well, we're going through it now in a bit more detail. So yeah, I mean, in summary, in relation to MAT, loads of stuff. I think a bit more on the pathway from pub to upwards. A bit more information needed on leagues and how that works. A bit more focus on the open aspect, and a bit more information about ladies darts. Is there any scope for disability darts to be included in this as well? That was the other question I had in relation. But yeah, so that there are a number of questions which are still up in the air. It is early days. I guess it's benefit of the doubt for the moment, but also it's good to keep an eye on and scrutinise as they move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got people talking about the amateur game, which we've not been able to do for a little while. Of course, whenever we've talked about the amateur game, it has been about mainly the BDO, which of course we've seen this year sadly fall by the wayside. And it is a really exciting time for amateur darts, not just because we've got this new MAD. We're not sure how it's going to play out with them. You've also got the WDF, you've got the UKVA looking after the county side of things. So you've got 3 bodies there coming in basically to fill that void. So for an amateur player, you've got to be sitting at home just itching to get back out there, playing in your pub league, playing in your super league, playing in your county league, playing in these opens, because there's going to be a lot of different doors that are going to be available to these players going forward with all these different organisations, all these different events that we've talked about. So it's just, like I say, I've said it a lot, we're just hoping to get back going again as soon as possible, and we can see all these events play out and see how they go.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to wait and see, don't we? People have been very quick to give their opinions. And I mean, I think the other point to make, of course, is that in relation to MAD, there was a live chat that was going on last night. Well, that was swiftly switched off, wasn't it? Because I don't know whether you followed it. And some of it was very on the nose, Alex, but other parts was very, very humorous, and I laughed along very heartily. But that was switched off. There were no comments allowed on the YouTube channel. So I think that's something to be aware of, that people are going to have questions about this, and I think MAD should be very open to the fact that people are going to have questions, and not all of us have agendas. It's just genuine questions about how it might work, because we ultimately, you and I want this to succeed. We all want this to succeed, really, because no one else is going to do it. It's got a great chance of succeeding with Steve Brown, and I'm trying to sign up. So I tried to sign up last night, and the verification email did not appear in my spam folder or inbox. So I'm having to chase that up, and you and I can have a race to see how many MAD points we can get.
Yeah, I look forward to it when the chance comes up. But yeah, I know it's like you say there with the YouTube stream taking down the ability to comment and stuff. Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because you don't want to see all those dodgy comments on there. You want to be coming across as a good organisation, open organisation. So I think going forward, you do want to see people have that option to put questions to MAD to say, oh, what's this all about? Can you talk to us a little bit more about that? So hopefully there will be that platform for people to put their questions in to Steve Brown, to the other people involved, so they can find out more. Because one of the things that we can say about the BDO, one of their faults was they weren't very transparent towards the end, which was a massive shame, frustrating for a lot of players, a lot of people involved trying to follow darts at that level. So if they can be open, be transparent about things, then that's only going to be a benefit, I think.
Yeah, and they've been very good on Facebook. In fairness, on Facebook today, there've been a few people dropping questions in, and they've been very receptive in terms of replying. So that's been very, very good to see. Yes, so I think, God, I'm exhausted. I feel like I've actually been in a boxing match. This talk of belts and mumbles. But yes, unless there's anything you'd like to add, Alex, I think we should wrap that up on what has been a mad day.
Yeah, mad day, mad weekend. But no, just touching on what I said at the beginning, thanks very much for your help this weekend, being representing us for the media afternoon. Thanks to everyone who's following our updates, who's listened to this to find out a little bit more about MAD. And as I say, we'll be following it closely. So if you guys want to find out a bit more about it, if you've got any questions for us that you want us to put to these people, of course we can try and get Steve Brown on the show. He's always happy to come on. So maybe we could do that later on down the line, maybe start next year after the World Championship, when things quieten down a little bit. We'll try and do that. But yeah, 2021, let's see what it brings for the amateur game.